So how is everyone's weekend going? Uh, we have someone. Hello, Dungi. That's an awesome name. Hello, Dungi. How is your day going? Let's start this conversation going. So you can tell this is my first time trying to do something like this, is because every time I like touch something on YouTube stream, like a new "Hey, did you know this?" pop up pops up, and it's just ridiculous. Thank you. I would say I always appreciate that, especially when you guys leave comments and so forth. I do try and answer, or at least appreciate all the comments and everything. Um, yeah, I really do appreciate feedback like that. And like if you ever see something wrong on the site or on the channel, always feel free to like let me know like something's up. Um, we have an issue. I keep saying we, it's me. I have an issue on the site I need to take care of where I was working on the Living History project updates and the normal game pages. And someone discovered that a lot of the 1996 games that I was doing in re-adding to the site, I accidentally labeled as 1998 games because I was in the middle of a history project. And I got yelled at by a couple people for that. So it's all good. It's being taken care of. Uh, what is going on with you? Nice. You know what? I hate to say it, but like I'm not a big multiplayer person. Like I hoard myself out for Mass Effect 3. But I've seen cool things about Division 2. Like what attracted you to that game? Like if you're trying to try, if like let's say you're the GameStop employee and I'm the person that doesn't play multiplayer games, what would you say are the best features about that game and why? To do, we've got a conversation going. I don't know why I left that. For some reason, co-op loot shooting sounds like the best like icon on the back of the game case ever. Like, oh look, it's 18 players. It's got high def graphics, and oh, it's got loot shooting. Oh man, I was gonna say like I think that's I wouldn't say the loot shooting because there was no real loot shooting, but like the only real multiplayer that's ever hooked me um, was probably way back in the day was Halo 3, just because I was playing with it was usually my friends either all just going against each other having a fun time, or it was like all however many of us teaming up and going against other teams online. And that was fun just because I was the handicap. Like I was the one they had to wait for to respawn. I think the reason I loved Mass Effect 3's multiplayer so much was not just because it was Mass Effect, but because there was never any PvP. You were always on the same team going against the computer. And one of the things I really liked is I don't wear a headset when I play online just because I don't feel like being yelled at by 13-year-olds. And it didn't matter what level you were on, what like difficulty you were on. As soon as all four of you started, like everyone knew what they had to do and how to help and what to go and so forth. And I love that even without communication or knowing each other, that we were always working as a team. And I think that's why I played it so much as I did. Um, I kind of want to go back to it, but I don't want to spend the $24 on an Xbox Live subscription to play it for a couple of times. Uh, am I a retro gamer or a modern gamer? I am both, actually. Which unfortunately one steals from the other and vice versa. Like, I actually just finished Darksiders 2 on PlayStation 4. I bought the first two Darksiders out of curiosity when 3 was announced, and they're really good games. Like I love the gameplay, especially in Darksiders 2, the whole once you got a possessed weapon and you can start throwing weapons into it to power it up. But like they felt empty at the end. Like I remember when I beat Darksiders 1 and Darksiders 2 just a couple days ago, it felt like the game just ended. Like there was no satisfaction there was no closure, even if knowing full well it's an ongoing game. Even like with Mass Effects 1 and 2, you knew there was a next game coming, but there was still closure within that that title. And Darksiders 1 and 2, the other night when I finished it, I was like, oh, that's it? Really? Like, oh, okay. I saw it on the sale pile. The problem is like, if I get hooked on a modern day game in the living room, it means I'm not in the game room taking care of stuff for Game Rave TV, so I kind of have to balance it out. Having just finished Bases Loaded, its season, its review on the website, I had Mrs. Game Rave pick a number, and that number correlated to one of the shelf numbers, and then that same number was used to count in to see what game I was going to play next. And unfortunately, she picked the number 16, which means it was that shelf right there, and I am now going to be playing and reviewing for one of the next episodes of Game Rave TV, War Gods, because I hate my life. But yeah, I would say I'm probably 50-50 as far as modern gaming and retro gaming goes, but it could sometimes be 90 and 10 based on the week. Like, there's no real PlayStation 4 games coming out that I need to play, so it's basically just my backlog, which means I can put that to the side and jump back into PlayStation, etc., and all that good stuff to help the episodes and the website running. Hello, Scott. What's up? Also wondered if you have any actual evidence of the RE1 flat cardboard version. Been looking for that one forever. And Chris runs. Oh, I haven't heard about that in a long time. The only evidence I ever had was a photo that was about ye big by ye big, and it looked like a flat cardboard box. So I went off that, basing it. I check eBay every so often, maybe like once a month, give or take, out of boredom, and I've never seen it since. Hence why I moved it to the rumored listing on my want page. The only thing I could think of that might have happened is either it was too blurry of a photo and the ridges kind of disappeared, or it was the Space Hulk situation where they sent out the flat cardboard as maybe a display box after the fact for displays and so forth. Otherwise, it might have just been a trick of the eyes and so forth. I leave it there just because you never know, like, especially with like the Quarterback Club long box that was found that was never released, but it's a legit one. Space Hulk, of course. But yeah, if that thing exists, I would love to have it. In fact, I actually have Space Hulk hanging on the wall in a shadow box above me, above the desk. That's probably one of the most, I think, between the PS1 long box, that flat long box, and finding the legit final copy of Resident Evil 1.5 off a hard drive somewhere is probably like the most sought after things ever for Resident Evil on the PlayStation 1. I kind of hope it's real, but I kind of hope it doesn't, because I don't want to spend the money to get it. What's the one canceled game you wish you could play? Off the top of my head, literally, I would say Thrill Kill, but that's available if you just download the ISO. I can't really think of... Let me think about that for a sec. Not having said it now, Resident Evil 1.5 would have been cool to play through, which you can also get the ISO of like the fan rebuilt one. Going even like non-PlayStation, like I'm trying to think of like all genres and all systems, and I can't really think of a canceled game that comes to mind, just because like once a game was canceled, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I'll put it aside and be depressed for a little bit, and then you kind of forget about it because it's not physically in front of you. That's a great question, and I don't have an answer for it. Actually, I take that back. It wasn't a canceled game. It was a canceled fan project. On the Neo Geo, there was an exclusive CD release of Samurai Shodown RPG. Imagine literally classic Final Fantasies like Super Nintendo, but it's the Samurai Shodown characters. And there was a fan on his own doing this crazy fan translation, like of everything, all the text menus, all the everything. And I don't remember the full story, but apparently he was just getting harassed by a lot of fans, like demanding that he get it done and so forth. And he finally gave up on it and just said, "No, screw it, I'm done. Like, you know, no one's going to appreciate this, blah blah blah." That there alone is probably the most canceled project I would cry for. I actually was able to get through about 3 or 4 hours into Samurai Shodown RPG, and then I got stuck at something. And even with the FAQs on GameFAQs of people that actually played it, I don't know where to go, which is weird because I was able to play through Japanese Final Fantasy VII 3 times without knowing anything. So that might that might tell you how easy 7 was compared to Samurai Shodown RPG. But yeah, that's actually an excellent question. That actually might make a great Game Rave TV episode. Good call. Welcome, a bit complicated. Robotech Crystal Dreams. That's an amazing answer. Also, if you guys want to answer each other questions, feel free. Like, I'm all about community talking and so forth. God, I'm having high school flashbacks now. God, I had friends that bought the N64 just to play Robotech, and they never got their wish. God, that's a great game reference. God, speaking of N64, if you ever want to have a fun argument with someone, argue Mortal Kombat Trilogy PlayStation versus N64 version, and you can just feel the fanboy tension between their arguments. I am, of course, on the PlayStation version side, loading times and all. But yeah, that's a great question. Also, welcome new people. I just noticed the numbers kind of jumped up here. Here's a question for you guys. If you could have one game remastered, doesn't matter the system it came from, doesn't matter the system it would be on, what would that one game be? Have you ever read any books about video games? Yes and no. I actually have a whole drawer full in my nightstand of books that I've either not read yet, have half read, or want to read. As I mentioned, I'm a Mass Effect whore. I actually have all the novels for them, including the one that got like everything wrong in it. I actually was halfway and 3/4 of the way through the first 2 books, and they were phenomenal. I don't know why I stopped reading them, what have you. I got a little bit into Game Over long time ago. That was actually a fun read. I do enjoy going through all the art books. Like I've got all the Mass Effect art books. I love reading about like what didn't get into a game or like what they thought they were going to do and changed. But I love the art books especially just because the graphic designers and the concept artists in video games are like the least appreciated people on earth. They go through so much, and what little is actually accepted in the game is mind-boggling. There was a section in the Mass Effect 1 art book where they admitted that they did like 300 different helmet designs before finalizing like the one for Shepard. And as someone who does graphic design for a living, I get depressed if like one of like 3 ideas didn't get used. I can't imagine doing 299 of them and seeing them left on the cutting room floor. That would just be chaotic. I really want to get back to finishing the novels. I haven't done much reading in a while, truth be told, and I really should. It would probably help with my writing skills and talking skills. But great question, though. Back to the remastering question. Twist Metal 2 would be phenomenal, especially at the real world environments. Like I can only imagine what the Havoc engine would do for like Paris with the Eiffel Tower. That would be absolutely incredible. Yeah, all the Twisted Metals are really hard. In fact, now I think about it, I don't think I've ever actually finished any of the Twisted Metals, which is going to make it difficult when I have to review them for the website. Oh, great. Dinosaur Planet. For you guys that don't know, Star Fox Adventure started off as Dinosaur Planet on the Nintendo 64 / GameCube. God, you guys are bringing up a great game. Of course, they're all in 64, so of course they wouldn't be on my mind. But yeah, that would be a really good one too. The one game I would want remastered, and I've been pleading for a remaster every time Sony announces something new, is Jumping Freaking Flash. Like the fact that we don't have a VR jumping Flash game where like you look down and jump up and you just see the Earth drop 3 stories is just mind-boggling of a thought. That was one of the games where when it first came out on PlayStation, like it didn't have like the realistic graphics that you care about, but like that first time you hit the triple jump, you knew it was going to be an amazing game. God, I wish I could have that as a remaster. Oh, Saga, nice. Cheers to that one. That actually had one of the best endings I've ever experienced in a video game. So fun story. Way back in the day when that was being released, my friend lived in Chicago and I lived in whatever suburb it was, and there was a Toys R Us between us, and I was rapidly trying to get all the last Saturn games as much as I could. Like there were weeks like when my part-time job, I would have spent the entire paycheck on a Sega Saturn game and just had ramen for that week. And I got to the day of release for Panzer Saga. I ran to the Toys R Us, and they had 2 copies and 2 copies by themselves for $60. They didn't have cell phones at the time, or at least not before I could afford one or want one. So the Toys R Us lady let me use their phone to call my friend at his house to see if he wanted it, and I actually ended up buying both copies for the $120 plus tax at the time. Ended up dropping off at his house, and both of us just loved that game. He 100%ed that game, and when I say 100%, I mean like every inch of the map was colored, every item was bought, every treasure chest was found. It was incredible, just really cool. Let's see, Saga. Any favorite RPG from the PS1? Good question. All of them, even the bad ones. As I've mentioned before on some of the episodes, the PS1 was like the golden era for role-playing games. Companies were not afraid to experiment with all the new technology. Like, what's really cool is if you go back to the earlier ones, like Beyond the Beyond and Suikoden, you can see where the Super NES roots were still taking hold with the 2D sprites, but they were messing around with some of the special effects and like the CD soundtracks and so forth. But then when Final Fantasy 7 and Wild Arms and the one whose name I can't remember right now, when those hit, you could see that the developers were finally like, whoa, you know what? Let's just, pull up our sleeves. Let's just see what we can do with the system. And from there, you got all these beautiful, like, using real CDs to create stuff in Monster Rancher. You've got all the gorgeous artwork in like Valkyrie Profile. You've got just phenomenal tactics-based games like Final Fantasy Tactics and I'm drawing a blank. Vandal Hearts. Oh my god, I love Vandal Hearts. When I was still in retail, I used to describe Vandal Hearts as the Samurai Showdown of tactics RPGs, just because when the sword hit and the blood gushed, it was just like an end fight in the Samurai Showdown. If I had to pick a favorite, Valkyrie Profile is at the top of the list. Maybe not number 1, but it's at the top of the list because the artwork and the music was so beautiful. Like the combat system alone, where each character was a thumb button, and you were essentially creating like a Street Fighter combo out of 4 separate characters as you attacked. That drew me in so fast. Like you had to like just pry my hands off the controller. 7 is of course good, but overrated. I adore 9. Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics, I beat while I was sick with pneumonia for a week. And then it wasn't until afterwards that I realized there was a second wheel in the job system. So I beat the game without knowing about the second wheel. And before you ask, how the hell did you do that? I didn't know it. So I just game sharped infinite health and kind of plowed my way through it. These are great questions. Keep them coming. Any thoughts on Vandal Hearts? Yeah, like I just said, Vandal Hearts is phenomenal. Um, I've played through Vandal Hearts 1, I think 2 or 3 times now. Um, I have to play through it still with the guide to make sure I can get the true ending. Like with all the armor pieces that are hidden in the little search squares. Um, I haven't given Vandal Hearts 2 a fair shake because I remember the first time I played it way back in the day when it came out, and I realized that like both of you were moving at the same time, so you couldn't actually set up a strategy. That turned me off big time, and I've never actually gone back to it. I'll have to go back now, obviously, for the YouTube channel and the website. But I adore Vandal Hearts 1. Like, oh my God, I love Vandal Hearts 1. Uh, 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 it is overrated. I mean, it's a great game, but it's overrated. Legend of Dragoon, was that the third one? No, Legend of Dragoon was its own game. In fact, that's actually Mrs. Game Raves, one of her favorite role-playing games, and she actually convinced me to play it a long time ago, and I loved Legend of Dragoon. Legend of Dragoon had something that I thought was really awesome, which was the I wouldn't call it a quick time event, but like the interactive where like if you were the Dart, you had to like press the square button to time his moves. I thought stuff like that was really good for Japanese RPGs just because it let you like still play the game while it played itself. Like in older ones like Final Fantasy VI, if you had the memory option, you could literally just sit there and hold a button and like, you know, drink coffee and talk to a friend while the game played itself because it had all the moves stored in memory. PSX Dad, hello. For those of you in chat, PSX Dad has his own YouTube channel. He actually does reviews from a parental standpoint and how it, you know, he and his small son. Check it out, PSX Dad on YouTube. If it helps, I almost forgot this was going on too, so we're all good. Oh, I lost track. But yeah, Legend of Dragoon is phenomenal. I had a really fun time with that. My only complaint that I had with Dragoon, aside from like the typical like, you know, criticism you'd have to have with it, was that there was that one boss fight where there was no save point in between the two bosses. So it was like bam, bam. Oh, I survived. Right. Oh God. Oh God. I had like no health items. I had no health. It was bad. Oddly enough, it also didn't. I was playing on an upscaler. The upscaler actually didn't affect the timing on the in-combat sequences, which I thought was interesting because it wreaks havoc on Pandemonium. Yeah, like if you're a role-playing person, you need to just get the whole damn library on the PlayStation. Like even Beyond the Beyond, in its insert big word here, its plaininess is still really good, especially in the way they use the Mode 7 like effects on the characters. Oh, Xenogears. You know, Xenogears, I haven't played yet. I remember when I was working at the family game store, I got free rentals, obviously, because I was an employee there. I remember I rented it, and I got home, and I didn't have much time because at the time I was a full-time college student, yada yada, had homework and all that stuff. And I remember I got to the first town, and I talked to a character, and they spent 9 dialogue boxes on their cow. And I was like, all right, I get it. And I went to hit X to like just get off of them so I get to the next person. And I unintentionally started the conversation again, and it wouldn't let me scroll past it. And I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm good. I'll play this later. And unfortunately, I've never gotten to it later. A friend of mine actually did play through it, and I remember him just being absolutely blown away at how like basically the second disc was just an entire movie of an ending. So yay, more games to play in the backlog. Oh, Karsha, yeah. That's actually is it Karsha? That actually brings up a good point. One of the ideas I had for episodes of Game Rave TV, technically in the subset collection, was I wanted to do the creation games. Basically games that use other things to create items in the games, like Monster Rancher with the CDs, and then Loading. Karsha, where you can save items to your memory card and trade them off. Monster Seeds has it where you can save your memory card and trade them off. Alpha 3 with the World Tours. I didn't realize there were that many games that use that memory card to trade off. Obviously, all the sports games with the playing your teams versus teams. Oh, that's really good. Let's jump in here for a sec. I keep getting pop-ups of I don't see what's in here. Oh, yes, a mouse. Yeah, me too. Funny enough, if you guys don't follow my ramblings on Twitter, I have the words Lightspan online CD, and a couple of weeks ago now, I sat through a what do you call it? Not a descaler, decompiler, as best I could, and I was going through all the things trying to figure out, how I could get the browser open, yada yada, and I come to find out that apparently the Lightspan online connection CD does not support a mouse, be it the PlayStation mouse or the actual mouse that it would be plugged into the keyboard and mouse adapter, which if this is supported by the fact that if you actually go into the disk's tutorial menu, they mention plugging in the keyboard, but there's no mention of a mouse to plug in and so forth, which is a terrifying thought, because that means the keyboard and mouse adapter, which people have spent like hundreds and hundreds of dollars on to get, even if it was just the prototype version, that would mean they spend $750 for a piece of accessory that only half works. So yeah, good times. What's interesting about the mouse episode is that some games that you wouldn't expect to use the mouse do. Like I think some of the Lycan games actually support the mouse. So I'll have to get on that as well. Oh, I've got time. I've only got like, what, 40 years left on this earth to take care of it. Oh, nice. Oh my God, Dire was phenomenal. If you guys have never played Die Hard Trilogy on PlayStation, go play it just for Die Hard 2. Die Hard 2 on a CRT with a light gun or with the mouse, you can shoot literally everything on screen, every door, every tile, every plant, every character. It was probably one of the most technically amazing spectacles on the original PlayStation you'll ever see. There was a ton of texture warping though, so like if you use the mouse on a modern day TV, it's going to look kind of fugly, but you need to play it just for all the amazing things you could do in it. Hello, Supreme Roger. Take rave games of your name. Rave, is it? Supreme Roger, Fortnite, I actually don't play. I actually bought the $40 one. I actually, when Fortnite came out, me and Mrs. Game Rave bought it. I bought the $40 version because like, hey, I'll get some free stuff to play it, and I love the graphic style, and I like the way it plays in general. But I'm at that point now in my life where I could play Minecraft and I could play a first-person shooter or third-person shooter, but I can't play both at the same time. And like, I'll be playing and I'll see a guy coming, like, oh, I should dodge or like maybe build a wall and hide behind it. And by the time I can figure out how to get to the menu to build the wall, I'm already dead. Repeat this 100 times. And that's my gaming night. We actually played together kind of like just against the computer, I think, and like trying to attack your generator or something like that. And that was kind of fun. But it was just too much. Like I tried so hard to get into PvP, and it was either me jumping off the bus and landing and dying before I've taken a step, or me landing and trying to desperately find a weapon, finding a weapon, and then dying. Which is kind of depressing because I really, really liked the whole Minecraft third-person shooter angle thing, but like Having seen people fire rockets and jump on them and snipe people while they are flying on a rocket, I was just like, nope, I'm good. I've got better things to do. Die Hard 1 and 2 do have light gun support. In fact, the Die Hard trilogy works best with Konami's Justifier. Really, really good. In fact, it's actually advertised on the back of the Justifier box. Well, thank you. I'm kind of cool. Take Rave Games of your name. Rave is a clan. That's fine. To be honest, Game Rave is actually used by a lot of people. There's actually another YouTuber, I think it's a girl, that does rave game reviews. And then there's also GameRave.com without the hyphen is actually a game store in San Diego, of which who's got some really bad Yelp reviews. But I'm not associated with them, so it's all good. Play any retro PC games? Good question. I say if people are unsubscribing because I said 7 was overrated, people are going to unsubscribe. I hate gaming with a keyboard and mouse. One of the reasons I haven't really played Mass Effect on the PC a lot, which I would have if it supported controllers, is because the dexterity and the there's only 4 fingers here, man. I gotta work with this. The first time I tried playing Mass Effect on PC, like Shepard was just always like this because I couldn't figure out how to do things with the mouse and my keyboard at the same time. Having gotten the new PC, this is just a modder. I've been kind of downloading older games that I want to see how they look in high def. It's kind of weird. My PC livelihood is interesting because it actually goes all the way back to my childhood. My family never really had a lot of money. Like we were always we lived in a suburb, but we got by and that was it. Like I didn't have that much extraneous stuff. I had a Commodore 64 growing up. That was actually the family computer. So I played Kids on Keys, Jumpman, David Crane's Transformers game, which is amazing, except for some reason Rodimus Prime and Hot Rod exist at the same time. And then I played Maniac Mansion on there all the time. And then by the time the Nintendo came around, I was still using my Commodore 64, but obviously I couldn't really use it for anything other than schoolwork because it couldn't run anything. And by then everyone else was on their Pentiums and blah blah blah. I didn't have a real honest to God computer I could do something with it until I believe high school, which is when I got my first. It was a Packard Bell, and it was probably about $1,300, and it had the big ass CRT with the big ass speakers hooked on the side. The tower was literally I could have killed someone with it, and I didn't really play many games on that as well. I tried X-Men versus TIE Fighter, which oddly enough the discs were mislabeled, so that was fun. But I really only used my computer for making stuff. At the time, it would have been the fanzine version of Game Rave, typing up reviews for stuff like that. I didn't really try PC gaming until late in life, probably college, and even then, I don't know. If it was on the console, I would just play the console version because I found it easier to use the controller, and I can freak out all of you by saying, case in point, I preferred playing StarCraft on Nintendo 64 than I did on the PC. And this is all true. But yeah, right now, with the new PC, I've actually re-downloaded Ridge Racer, whatever the one that was Burnout. I've been playing through that. I dabbled in a little bit of Tomb Raider to check out the graphics. But yeah, what I really want to get into for the PC gaming is I want to try and give games that I didn't care for on the console a chance because they were a little bit different on the PC. That includes the original Dragon Age Origins I would like to try again, and probably Assassin's Creed, the entire series. You guys are doing great. This is phenomenal. Also, welcome everyone. I just saw the number spike up. Executioner, what's up, boy? Let's see. Next in line. Supreme Roger, what's my favorite game of all time? Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, Andromeda, Mass Effect 2 app, the other ones that came out for Mass Effect 3. I love that series more than anything in life, aside from Mrs. Game Rave. But yeah, that is like the entire Mass Effect trilogy of 1, 2, and 3 with all the DLC is like I could literally replay that a billion times and never get bored of it. Like it's just absolutely excellent. Yeah, it was a Packard Bell. All right, like it was, and I think it was a 2-button mouse. Like I can picture it in my head. Like it was like one of those ones that was featured in Best Buy. And my parents actually bought it for me as a gift. In fact, funny story. The day after I got the PC, the whole point of getting the PC was to start making the fanzine of Game Rave, which is basically a Xerox magazine. We went out and I spent the $300 of like a month's worth of working paychecks to get the flatbed scanner that was probably bigger than like 5 Xbox One X's combined. And in order to get the scanner hooked up to the computer, I had to install a SCSI card. And installing the SCSI card meant I had to take the warranty decal off the Packard Bell. And as I took it off, my friend Alan was just like, "Oh, you rebel." We got plugged in, and I just started scanning in game manuals and stuff to have for assets for the fanzine. God, that was so long ago. Speaking of a mouse, I really wish Hyper could make a new mouse for the PS1 like that. Oh, I didn't know they did. That actually be pretty cool. I think Hyperkin's the one making that like LCD light gun accessory thing too. That I don't know if I'd spend $150 on. Oh, thank you, Unbounded. That's correct. That game is so hard too. Let's see here. Flash drives have more storage than it. I think the PS1 memory card has more storage than that did. Oh, NEC, man. That's back in the day. That's like the TurboGrafx and stuff. Yeah, I had a very I literally went from a Commodore 64 to a Packard Bell, so that was my generation gap. It'd be like going from like a Sega Master System to a PlayStation 3. Oh, that's cool. So I haven't had my Super Nintendo hooked up in a long time. I'm actually, in fact, most of the retro stuff, except for the Sega CD and the Turbo Duo, which I need hooked up anyway to do the Game Rave stuff. Most of the other retro stuff, I just use a Raspberry Pi now. Hey, Vector Man, welcome. Hey, DB, I can't remember if you collect factory errors. Lose Tekken 2 this, you might. Yeah, I feel like cool. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll take care of that. For those of you who don't know, Vector Man I've known for a very long time from various web forums. Yeah, I kind of collect them. In fact, if you want, I'll take care of this off stream. Hit up iamair.com. If he doesn't have a picture of it, send him a picture and he'll give you credit. He's got a lot of cool. In fact, you know what? Let me get you guys his web address. If you guys are ever looking at just how ridiculous game manufacturing can be, iamair is a website that tracks all these different misprints, and there are some hilarious things going on, like pages miscut, wrong colors, not all the colors. I'll actually post it into the chat right now. Yeah, check out his site. It's actually really, really cool. I've got a couple featured on there. Probably one of my favorite misprints is there's versions of Raiden Project long box that when you throw the disc in, it's actually Kalik the DNA imperative. Oops. I got adapters so bad back in the day. Oh yeah, I actually had the floppy drive. I had, if you guys don't know, I used to work for Game Shark for 2 years, way back in the day. The floppy drive was basically an actual like 3.5-inch floppy disk that you drive that you plugged into the PlayStation and acted as a like memory card backup. Where the Dex drive actually used physical memory cards in and out, you would just back up your stuff to a floppy with the floppy drive. I actually had a I wouldn't call it a prototype version, but kind of like the one we got from China to, say this is cool, start printing them. And I accidentally destroyed it a couple months ago. I can't remember. I was playing Wild Arms, and I went to go back up to the floppy drive, and whatever I did, something glitched, and I basically corrupted the dongle of the floppy drive. And no matter what I did, be it thrown into a Dex drive or hooked up to a PlayStation or a PlayStation 2, it would no longer read the floppy drive. Like I basically corrupted the front door of the house that stored the floppies. And after taking it apart and trying to figure out if I could like fake repair it and see what I could do, it turned out I just destroyed it. I ended up having to scrap it, which was fine because the actual floppy drive inside was not working very well either. The floppy drive did come out at retail. We didn't sell that many. In fact, I think it came out right before I actually joined Game Shark. There are retail boxes for it, but it was super small print run. God, I'd be willing to bet it was probably less than 5,000 units, if that. With Interact at the time when I was there, Interact was actually Interact Performance and a third, I think it was called Rocket Games. And based on what they were doing, they would kind of like make a small print run and see if it was okay. And if it wasn't selling, they would just end it right there. The Dex drive just did really well because a lot of people were basically sending each other memory cards or emailing people with their saves. Plus, it was a lot faster than the floppy drive. Oh my God. So I have a question for you guys. Like, are you excited at all for like the next gen systems, like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox, I guess next? With like the exception of the possibility of there being backwards compatibility in PlayStation 5, which I will believe it when I see it. I'm not that excited. In fact, this was the first generation where I don't have all the systems, and I probably never will. Like, there's not enough exclusives on the Xbox One to warrant me purchasing one, even from like a 4K movie player standpoint, which is kind of depressing. With the next gen, I don't know how I feel about it. I've got a couple of Dex drives around here somewhere. In fact, I actually have a Windows 98 PC in the corner that I have hooked up every so often to where I can actually back up my saves. For like, I have like 7 memory cards worth of Wild Arms saves on there. Oh, nice. Yeah, I upgraded the place. I have a 4K TV, but I never felt the need to upgrade to the PlayStation 4 until Horizon Zero Dawn came out. And when the DLC hit where it's that snow stage and I saw how beautiful the snow looked, I went, oh, screw it. And I ended up upgrading my system. And it was worth it. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, the improvements on that look phenomenal. Shadow of the Tomb Raider on the Pro is absolutely gorgeous, especially some of the challenge map areas, like the one that they just released, whose name I can't remember. When you first walk in, you see the staircase up, and there's just this amazing like mountain, cavernous temple in the background. It was breathtaking. Yeah, you know what? A bit complicated brings up a good point to see what Nintendo does next. Aside from a new version of the Switch, which has already been rumored, the only thing I could see them being cool is if they somehow figured out how to have 3DS games on a new version of the Switch, so you could use the TV and the tablet at the same time. That would be really, really excellent, and probably should have been a feature on the launch day Switches, but who am I? I feel bad for Nintendo. Like, they're doing really well, and I bought a Switch on launch day because yay Zelda. But Becky and I, Becky's Mrs. Game Rave, we literally haven't bought a game for the Switch since launch day. And aside from her just devouring Zelda and the two of us co-oping through Bomberman R, there hasn't really been a need to turn the system on. I was going to spend the $30 and get the Capcom Arcade Collection, or the Beat 'em Ups, whatever the Beat 'em Ups collection was, and I just never got to it, and I might never need to. And I find that really depressing because as a huge fan of the Super Nintendo, not so much the N64. I was for the GameCube for a little bit. Like, I haven't really felt the need for a Nintendo system like ever. Like, I love the Wii for what it's worth. In fact, I actually have the Wii U rehooked up so I can go through Mass Effect 3 again and get all the achievements in that because Mass Effect horror. But yeah, I kind of fell off the Nintendo bandwagon years ago, and it's kind of depressing because like they were my main bread and butter before the PlayStation. Retro Gamer. Oh, hey, Retro Gamer, what's up? I know a lot of people. I gave up on modern gaming last gen because of all the nonsense. Yeah, in fact, I've actually brought this up in episodes of Game Rave TV. Like, all the nonsense going on right now with like just the games as a service and all this bull stuff. Like, I don't get gaming anymore. Like, I really don't. In fact, to that degree, I don't understand collectors anymore. Like, YouTube is weird, and I'm gonna be going on a tangent for a second. Like, when I first started collecting, and there were like forums, and it was just like forums and emails and actual web forums, and not like Discord and so forth. Like, collectors were actual people that like collected games and shared information, and we tracked stuff and blah blah blah. And now it like modern day gaming, collectors nowadays, it seems like all they're here for is to just try and be the king of the hill as far as like what they own, or like look at what I bought and so forth. Like, I didn't know this until I fell down a rabbit hole one day on YouTube, but there's this whole like sub-genre of what I would just call picking on each other, where like a YouTuber will call out this YouTuber and expose them for whatever, and then this person will like attack them back or defend themselves and blah 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 blah. And like, unfortunately now, because I watched like 3 or 4 of those, like my entire feed is just people crapping on each other, and it's like, no, dude, like, get back to what it's actually about. Like, it's just so bad. Like, I can tell you right now, the whole reason I do Game Rave, the website and stuff, is so I can actually share all this information. Like, if I didn't do Game Rave, I literally would sell off like 90% of this wall. Well, maybe not the PlayStation library. That's my baby. But I miss the days when people actually helped each other, and it wasn't all about like who had the biggest collection. Like, it's just really weird. Let's see what's going on here. Super NES Central. Guys, that is my buddy Evan. If you are into Super Nintendo things, go to SNEScentral.com. He is basically the Game Rave of the Super Nintendo. He scans in all the boards. He brings up cool prototypes. He does streams. Check him out. He's awesome. Let Danger Boy swear. You know what's funny? A bit complicated. In my normal life, I swear like a sailor, both intentionally and unintentionally. There have been episodes where I'll way back in the day, before I started using the script and the teleprompter, where I would just start talking and be cool, and I'd go to edit it, and it's just like, oh my god, I can't say those things. Let's see. Let me catch up here real quick. PS5 fully backward failure support. Otherwise, yeah, like I said, like, all Sony would have to do for me to buy a PS5 is literally walk up on stage at the presentation and go, all right, guys, let's check something out, and turn around, and it's like Tekken 1, and they go, oh, hang on a sec, guys, and they lean over and just pop the disc out of an actual PS5. Literally, I would throw my wallet and credit card at the screen. Good to go. I'm done. PSX Dad, my son loves the Switch, but I don't really play it. Yeah, like GameCube was. We had some really good stuff, like Klonoa, Klonoa remake. Zack and Wiki, if you guys haven't played on the Wii, the best $10 you'll spend. I absolutely destroyed Wii Bowling, etc. Best of the World, nice. Shroomy, welcome to the thing. You watch Jim Sterling. I completely agree. like I said, money is the root of all evil, and unfortunately, that's the direction most companies are going. The problem is what they're doing with like DLC and charging you extra for all the stuff. If done right, it's cool. Like any company like Warner Brothers that will release separate DLC, say for example, Lord of the Rings. Um, I fully support the season pass as long as it's actually like legit stuff for the right price. But then like after the year, they'll actually release all of it on a disc as a compilation. That's awesome. Where I don't support that is people like BioWare, who have all of this amazing DLC for Mass Effect, but haven't actually put it to platter. And unless you back up your hard drive on the PC versions or you have backups on your hard drives for the consoles, in like 10 years, that's all going to be gone. And people that are collecting 20 years from now, when they go to buy an Xbox game and those servers are shut off, they're going to literally be getting like a fifth of the game they should have. Let's see. You guys are doing amazing. DB collectors these days are collecting for other people, not for themselves. Oh, that's a great comment. Collectors these days are collecting for other people, not for themselves. That's true. Which actually that actually leads into the e-begging, which is a whole separate stream maybe for the next week. But yeah, like all the unboxing videos and stuff like that. Oh, that's so true. True me. Remember when games used to be games? Yes. Yes, I do. I remember when games didn't exist. At the age of 42, I was there to tease on. Now, it started before I was born, but I was basically there to like tease on Pong and the original Odysseys and all that fun stuff. And yeah, I miss when I could buy a game and have everything on it on the platter or on the cartridge and it'd be good to go. Well, I do appreciate the fact that games can be patched now. So if they did screw something up, they can fix it like you couldn't do on the PlayStation. But yeah, I do miss those days easily. Super easily, but that was a different time. And nowadays, like going back to I miss when games were games. I miss when there were game stores. I miss a time when eBay didn't exist and people didn't buy everything to resell it to everyone. Like there were times like that. Like you could go on eBay and just find a hard to find game for a normal price, not because someone said, "Oh my God, I saw this on insert YouTuber here. It's a rare gem." Just I miss those days. Hey, Demaramu, that's an amazing name. I feel pretty indifferent toward the upcoming gen. I've been focusing more on retro gaming these days, thanks to all the new solutions for playing old consoles. Yes, wholeheartedly. Truth be told, people can change. I was a snob at one time, way back in the day. I was a snob. Like I refused to play emulators. I refused to do whatever. Like it had to be real hardware on real games and everything. And I'm sorry for the shaking camera. But with age comes wisdom, and mortgages. And I'm at that point now where like I can appreciate like the Raspberry Pis. In fact, Becky, like ever since we played the Raspberry Pi at a friend's house and she bought it for me as a gift. And now, ever since we got it, like we've been reliving our teenage and childhood years. Like watching her go through Lion King on the Genesis on the Raspberry Pi is the most adorable thing ever. I got to introduce her to some of my favorite games, like UN Squadron on the PlayStation. And as soon as I can figure out how to get the Neo Geo games working on there, I can sell off the rest of my arcade carts and just live off that. But yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, it's now is like the best time to be a gamer because with all the advancements, as you said, in getting retro games up on modern televisions, we're at a time where we have access to everything from day one Pong to present day PlayStation 4 Pro. And I have never been happier to be alive. Like it's just a great time. At least there's indies to help ease the pain. Indeed. I feel bad. I haven't given indies enough credit and gameplay. Like some of my favorite games are technically indie games. Like Inside, I went through Limbo. I went through Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm, which if you guys haven't played it, it's basically high school Mass Effect. Absolutely enjoyed those. I'm waiting for Life is Strange 2's entire season to be out, which I think is by the end of this year, and then I'll pick that up and just plow through it. Super Essential. I think that collecting hobby has gone down a lot in the past 3 years. Game preservation is the new hotness. Yes, I agree, especially coming from you. If you guys don't know, I have actually part of the snobbishness was not understanding preservation, if you will. And thankfully, now a friend explained to me a project they were working on at redump.org. And I've actually been helping redump.org with a bunch of stuff that is super rare. Like we already archived Spider-Man 9/11 version, the Lightspin Online disc we archived, plus a whole bunch of demos. I actually need to get back to helping them out. I have a stack of demos that are super rare that we need to archive and get up on there too. Especially having discovered that, like, one of the games I went to redump, it's like there's actually a hairline. It's weird. There's a hairline. It's not a crack, but there was a hairline, like, missing spot of data on the it was a prototype disc I had of Metal Gear Solid. And when we realized that, it couldn't be archived because it came back errors, and I was like, holy crap. And that's when I freaked out and I started joining the bandwagon for all the preservation stuff. Do you plan on picking up a PS? I keep calling it a PSIO, but a PSIO, or still rock it old school with the discs? I can't get a PSIO for one easy reason, and that is you have to solder the thing to the board. I am not a hands-on kind of guy with that stuff. Two, I don't know, actually. Like, I mean, I have all these, so I might as well play them, and we're backing them up. At least I plan on backing them up and archiving them with Redump. I have a PlayStation Classic, and I know how much hatred that gets, but I could see just using that instead. The PSIO is a really great idea, and it has its issues and so forth. I was actually following it religiously when they were just starting off with it, but like I kind of fell off the plan with it, and I really don't have the need to get one. And even if I did, I've got a billion other ways to play the games. Like I said, once I start getting all the actual archiving done, I can always just use other emulators and so forth. What are your thoughts on the Polymega? Oh, welcome to Caesar Gaming. I just realized there's now 18 people in here. Hello, everyone. Polymega, I've kind of been silent because I didn't want to be part of I don't want to say the masses, but like if you, on YouTube, there's this thing where like if someone announces something, 150 people all have to regurgitate the same information, the same opinion about stuff. Polymega, when it was first announced, I was really interested in it, and then like they went silent on their social media channels, and I actually personally reached out to them via Game Rave, and never heard anything back. Never got even an automatic response. I was kind of like, oh, all right, you know, this is not looking good. And there were valid points that people were bringing up as having issues with them, both from their social media reactions, handling, and things like that. But after their latest offerings, showing them playing the Saturn games, showing the In the Hunt being played and so forth, even just the base unit by itself for the CDs, I want a Polymega. If nothing else, just for the Neo Geo option, because the watching Last Blade 2 load up in 30 seconds as opposed to the 2.5 minutes is amazing. And what's nice is if that has the option of 4:3, which it does, it means I don't have to worry about using an upscaler, and I can literally remove like 3 or 4 systems from my game stand, and I can use the Polymega to capture footage and stream and do screenshots and so forth. I've seen people tear them apart for various things, but all the things they were tearing Polymega for, other companies are guilty of too, especially Sony. And if Sony can do some of the stuff that Polymega has done, especially in the mistreating of its fans. I have faith. And the fact that they actually did show themselves loading discs in the machine and playing it live, etc. I'm hyped. I probably, if I have the money at the time, I will probably buy one. I probably won't pre-order it, but I'll buy it once it's readily available. I am looking forward to it, and I believe that they do offer side loading. They actually replied back to one of my Twitter comments about how you can side load PlayStation BIOSes for additional compatibility. I believe with the side loading option that it will allow people to do kind of their own thing and check it out, and like a PC, fine tune to their own things. So I can honestly say, and on the record say, I am looking forward to the Polymega. Even if it's just the disc-based version. The only cartridge thing I would need would be the TurboGrafx add-on, and then everything else I do is CD-based. So unless they're just planning on bringing out a laser active attachment, I'd be good to go with just the base unit and then the TurboGrafx add-on. These are great questions, guys. Let's see. Shroomy, to be honest, the collecting scene nowadays is one massive circle jerk. Yes, especially in certain YouTube circles, if you will. Let's see. Executioner, I spilled popsicle juice on my costly games manuals. Please send replacement. As opposed to perhaps a basement leak? A bit complicated. I miss when you could go to a flea market or honest-to-God gaming swap and people had shoeboxes of cards for peanuts. Yes, as I mentioned before. One of the coolest things I ever did in my younger days, and this is when the TurboGrafx and Super Nintendo and Genesis were like the main systems, there used to be what was called the Mars Project, Mars Swap Meet, something like that. And it was literally just you go to like a gymnasium and there's a whole bunch of people at tables and you just talk shit and traded games and bought games. I went to a Mars Swap Meet with my friend Alan, and that's where I bought a cherry mint TurboGrafx for like $150 back in the day when they were still going for like $200 or $300. And I actually bought Sylphia, which if you guys don't follow TurboGrafx, Sylphia was a spaceship shooter game, but it wasn't a spaceship. It was an angel in like the Roman era times. And it was amazing. And I literally bought it for $15 just for the artwork. The disc was phenomenal. It had the angel on there. And I came to find out a couple of years ago that it was worth like $300. So I ended up selling it off for the money to put towards more PlayStation stuff. But yeah, like I miss swap meets. I miss being able to walk into Goodwill and see more than just 18 copies of Madden 2001. Which, funny enough, if you guys don't know this, GameStop had at least in my area, had a thing where all the sports games and like crappy like Wii games that they weren't selling anymore, they were all donated to local Goodwills. So I've been out of GameStop for 4 years, and I walked into Goodwill and I was seeing stacks of Wii and Xbox 360 games with my initials on the tags, and it was really weird. Let's see. Shroomy, I'm so grateful for flashcards. This allows me to play games on original hardware. You know what? I was actually, I want to get a flash cart for the Neo Geo. I actually have an AES I bought off a friend years ago, and there's a funny story with that for a later stream. And I was thinking about getting it maybe for the MVS instead. But like, I have almost the complete Neo Geo CD library, and what few games aren't on the Neo Geo CD I could just take care of with the Raspberry Pi once I figure out what's going on. So that's really why I haven't bought a flash cart yet. I'll be honest, like I'm shocked at how well the Raspberry Pi does stuff. Like it does it pretty darn well. Oh yeah, FPGA consoles are pretty rad. I haven't really taken stock in those at all. PSX Dad, I know a guy that can help you with soldering. Excellent. We'll see. I don't really need a PSIO right now. Anki Coffee Bean, welcome to the chat from Sweden. Hello. I love your channel. Thank you so much. How do you feel about new gen consoles only going to have digital games? I don't like that. I want my physical games. I am a 10,000% physical gamer. when I heard about the Xbox One doing a digital only version, I just started weeping internally. This has been a problem that's been going on for a while, and I don't remember the exact point when it started in the industry, but I made the comment that they are making the hobby disposable. And what I mean by that is that, in fact, I think I said this in a Game Rave TV episode or somewhere, where it's disposable income. They want your income until they can dispose of the game. Games as services like Fallout 76 and Fortnite and so forth, that's the future gaming is headed towards, and I really don't want anything to do with it. Like I'm terrified because I truly believe Anthem was basically a testing of what would be the next Mass Effect game's multiplayer, and if that's the case, then I am just terrified in general, because I want things to stick around. Like, I want a physical copy. Like, opening up a new game these days and there being literally just a disc in what would essentially be an empty case if it weren't for the insert depresses me greatly. Like, I miss the days of maps and posters and like little cool things like the interactive letter from Star Tropics, and most of that is now like, knowing that a collector's edition is what it takes to just maybe get a manual or something else in the case besides a CD is depressing on like a absolute like medicated scale. And I can guarantee, like I've said before, like I am so depressed for the next generation of collectors, like kids that are growing up right now whose Nintendos will be a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 4 if they're like just here. When they go to have that childhood memory of like a game, they can't go find it at a garage sale, or they can't go find it on eBay, because it was a digital download only and it's gone. I mean, you're already seeing that now with like a lot of the games where the licenses ran out, so you can't buy the games anymore, like Ninja Turtles, and there's like a couple others on the 360 that you can't buy anymore. Seizure Gamer, when I get my Polymega, I'll send it to you for review. That's okay. That's okay. I will I will buy my own. It's all good. Let's see. Thoughts on the Genesis Mini? It's the third or fourth time the charm. You know what? As far as like the 16-bit systems go, I really don't have much attachment to them. I love what the analog and Hyperkin, like I love that they're giving people that choice and that access to it. But I don't really have an opinion on that particular. Just oh wait, I'm thinking of the analog Genesis Mini. Same kind of difference. As long as it's done correctly, it should be fine. As much crap as the PlayStation Classic got, I didn't really find it to be that bad. I mean, like Ridge Racer 4 is pretty much unplayable, and I didn't find any real issues with like Tekken. Like, I already have almost all the characters unlocked. But what's interesting with the PlayStation Classic, and I wish I brought this up on Game Rave TV, is that when I first got the Classic, I basically moved whatever was on my entertainment center, and I hooked the Classic up to the cords that were already hooked up. And I went in, and it was just this glitchy, awful mess. Like, it was literally unplayable in any terms. And I thought maybe I had a defective system. So I took it back to GameStop and got a replacement system, came back, and it did the same thing. And I was like, well, wait a minute. So I took out the cords that came with the Classic, hooked up with that, and suddenly it worked fine. So knowing that Tekken 3 is like a hairline slower than it should be because it's the PAL version, I'm wondering if all these people that were complaining that it was like controlling underwater, I'm wondering if they were using an HDMI cable that did not come with the Classic. Because like I said, I think I was using the HDMI cable from the Pound technology cable to originally plug it up, and that was just not happening. So it'd be interesting to see what other problems people were having with the Classic by not using the cable it came with. Let's see here. Super Essential, the digital-only future is going to be difficult for preservation. Absolutely. Like, I've seen people apparently people somehow downloaded the Wii Shop channel. I don't know how they did that, but more power to them. But yeah, I really hope there's a whole bunch of guys just trying to work, and gals trying to work on that, because it's going to be a really depressing, dark future if that's not. Executioner, did you find that PS1 theme for PS3 wallpaper? I really want to use that on. Oh God. Yeah. So if you guys don't know, long time ago, when the PlayStation 3 was still the main system, when Sony allowed you to actually create your own themes, I downloaded it and started working on a theme that would have actually turned the PlayStation 3's menu system to make it look like a PS1, so like that, like blue gradient and cheesy logos. I did find the folder, and it turns out I tried running it again, and it's just terrible. You can see, like, on the PNGs, you can see like a stroke that shouldn't be there, and things like that. Looks really grainy. I might go back and actually try and redo that as like a graphic design project. I forgot all about that. But yeah, let me maybe next week sometime I will track down the toolkit that Sony used to create that, and I'll start seeing if I can do it again now that I have more. I'm a little bit more smarter in how to use Illustrator for making the vectors and so forth. I forgot all about that. I really want to do that though. Good call. You're welcome. It's all good. The Flying Jester, welcome to the group chat. Weren't some of the games the PAL version on the PS Classic? Yes. It's actually easy to tell which ones are the PAL versions, because when you boot the game, if you look at the PlayStation boot screen at the bottom, it'll actually say PlayStation of Europe instead of PlayStation of America. It's also kind of funny because in some of the games, you only really saw it in Psygnosis games in America, but there was this anti-piracy message that would pop up before you got to the main game, and that anti-piracy message is in the PAL version of Tekken 3, and that threw me off for a second, because I was like, wait, this isn't Psygnosis. But yeah, it's really easy to tell. What's also particularly odd is that I think Ridge Racer 4 is an American game. It's not a PAL, and it still ran terrible, like Mass Effect. I'm a Ridge Racer whore. And I was like, oh, it can't be this bad. And that first track, it was like watching like hard driving from the Genesis as far as the frame rate went. And I was so distraught. For what it is, right now at my Classic, I actually beat all of Puzzle Mode and Super Puzzle Fighter. I've got most of the characters unlocked in Tekken 3, and then right now I'm like half-assedly going through Persona 1 on it, which is a very confusing game. Oh, man. That's so crazy. Oh. I think we're caught up, too, on the chat. Nice. And we've been talking for an hour and a half. Holy cow. Like I said, if I actually post this to YouTube, I'm going to have to cut out like the first 20 minutes because it was just me working on stuff. Oh, my God. You guys are awesome. I don't think I've seen some of your names before, so welcome to the club. Like, check out the channel. It's awesome. As far as the website goes, originally I was going to be working on stuff while talking to you guys, but I'm having more fun talking to you guys. Right now, I'm actually just re-adding in all the pages I took down when I originally scrapped the site and started rebuilding it, and then adding in better featured images. So when you do the search, it all looks uniform. The Flying Jester, any plans for more Saturn content? Face. Yes. In fact, originally when I was doing the Bases Loaded review, I had actually scanned in the Saturn assets partially to use in episode and then to get the Saturn page done. But that fell to the wayside. I actually want to do all the content. Like there's a reason they're on site, like the Neo Geo and the Saturn stuff. Now that I'm more caught up, but not necessarily with the re-adding pages, what I'll probably do is I'll probably start adding, maybe not this month, but next month, I'll probably start adding in Saturn pages, especially if I get to games that have a Saturn version, I'll just do both games at the same time. I do need to redo the Saturn template for the new site. which should be easy. I'll just copy the PlayStation one and change what I need to change. But yeah, the goal is to have everything up on site. Now, the only catch is, pardon me, is with the Saturn, I had to stop variant collecting because Saturn got super expensive. So where PlayStation is going to be like every known variant I can find, etc., Saturn is going to be more of like just the main games with the variants I already own, and then I'll make mention if I like the work. Most of the working design stuff will just be a mention of what's known to be out there, but you won't see like high-res scans of them because I don't own the variants of them. In fact, I think the only set I have as far as WD that is a complete variant set is the Magic Knight Rare Earth, and that's because that's when I bought them. They were like $60 each and not 300. Hello, Hybrid. What's going on? Let's see. Enki Coffee Bean. I love that name, by the way. What is your latest game you've played or are playing? I'm playing The Forest and Outward at the moment. I've actually never heard of those two games. As I mentioned way earlier in the stream, I just finished Darksiders 2. I am playing Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raiders DLC. I've got the season pass, so I think there's about 2 months left of it, and then it'll be finally done. If you haven't played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, its DLC the actual in-game is short, but the challenge maps are awesome. They do this thing, and one of them is where you have to collect these timers, and the timers are multipliers for your score, and the timer is going down, so you lose your multiplier, and the only way to get the points for that multiplier is to shoot these lanterns. And when I first tried it out, I was like, oh my god, this is too hard, this is terrible. And I went to go turn it off, and I stopped and noticed a lantern I had never noticed before. And I kind of took a step back and then realized, like, like that physics blonde hair woman meme, realized what I was supposed to do, and in the next run got the high score, like nailed it on the first shot, and it's just phenomenal to play. I haven't really given the other challenge maps attempt, but I'm having fun with it. Becky and I are going through Fallout 76 every few nights. We're already at about 63 hours in with it. She does more exploring than I do. Like I'll play with her, and then we'll just kind of follow around, help with each other with our quests and so forth. But that's about it for the main gaming, like our modern day gaming. And then right now, I have to go through War Gods for the next PlayStation review. There's actually a controller that I'm going to be reviewing. Actually, this guy. Yes, I've actually been trying to do a review for this for the YouTube channel. This is a 360 sphere controller, and it's terrifying. This is actually an analog ball. So if you were playing a game, you'd have to hold it like this and ever so gently move it like this. And what makes this controller important and why I'm doing the review of it is if you're going for a full PlayStation set with all demos, you actually have to buy this guy because inside the box was a demo disc that was essentially a training mission to use the controller, where a cute little robot guides you on how to use the analog angles and so forth. What's also interesting about that demo disc is it's a misprint. For some reason, when they were laying out mastering the disc, they stuck the SLUS file inside a folder. And because they did that, when it boots, the PlayStation doesn't know what to do because the SLUS file isn't where it should be. And so the title screen is just all garbled and jumbled, and then the game plays completely fine by itself. So hopefully that should be in one of the next upcoming episodes. Let's see. Flying gesture, yes, it did. I have exaggerated expressions, and I shat my pants when I saw that, like, the Saturn version of Mega Man, I think it's X3? No, Mega Man 8, the anniversary edition was going for like $400. I was like, it's what? Even the Bases Loaded 96 was going for $20. It's a baseball game, for God's sakes. GoFundMe for Jason, but no. I was saying, I'm literally on like a month or two away from finally being able to close my Patreon because I don't need the funds anymore. I don't need a GoFundMe. Let's see. Gregor. Oh, nice. Excellent. Isn't it like super good for Descent or something like that? Oh, the controller, yeah. What's weird is it's supposed to be really good for Descent and something else, but they actually, in fact, you know what? The room is kind of a disheveled right now, and I don't think I have the box handy. Yeah, I'll bring it up in the video when I do the review. What's weird is they actually gave you this like book chart, and there's 7 different settings on the stick. So based on what you were playing, the controller would actually technically, in some magical way, add analog to games that didn't have analog. But like some of the games it actually calls out that you can use it for is like NFL Blitz. I've played Blitz. That game is an acid trip on speed, and I don't understand how a game where you're moving just like this every time can use a controller. You're supposed to be like ever so gently just using it. So that will be part of the review. I think it actually says it's also great for Duke Nukem Time to Kill, which would be interesting because it's a Tomb Raider game. But yeah, I have a long road to go to that review for the controller. Let's see. The Forest is a survival horror game, and Outward is new for PS4, an RPG with survival kind of. Oh, that's nifty. I like that. The DDR with the 360 controller. Oh man, dude, oh god, I cannot wait till I have to review Dance Dance Revolution and was it Konami and Disney for the site, because when we first got DDR in at Game Shark, we hooked up to a coworker's PlayStation, and I jumped on the pad, and the song started, and I took like 3 steps, and I fell off the machine. Not the machine, I fell off the pad, and the pad's only this tall. And years before that, when I was the game room department manager for Anime Central's game room in 2000, we were able to supply a DDR machine from GameWorks. And the night before the con opened, we had a little staff party. And sure enough, I got on the DDR machine and I fell off on the 3rd step. So I might do the review with that using the controller. Oh man, this is so good. Dander boy, how'd you know? Let's see. But yeah, it's crazy. It's actually beautiful out. I went for a walk yesterday to get some mailing supplies for some of my eBay sales going on. You guys, this is going so well. I'm so happy. Oh man. So as I say, with you guys, here's a question for you. When you are playing a game, do you play it once through? Do you play it multiple times? Do you 100% it? Like a little combination, column B, column A? Like, how do you play a game? With me, it depends on the game. Like Mass Effect games and Tomb Raider games, I will 100%, and as long as there's no online achievements or trophies on the PS4, I will trophy that son of a bitch. I'm actually 50% through playing Tomb Raider on its like hardest difficulty, and it is interesting because I die a lot. But I actually just 100%ed what was it? Was it Tomb Raider? There was another game I 100%ed that was really fun to do. But the problem is with Tomb Raider's DLCs, some of the trophies include actually like placing bronze, silver, or gold in the challenge maps, and that's not happening for me. Steve! Everyone, say hi to Steve Wilcox. Steve is, I've mentioned before in YouTube videos, he is the son of a bleep who got me started on variant collecting, which I think it started out with the working designs and then got into greatest hits games, and it all just went downhill from there. He is the guy to go to if you ever need questions about 3DS or DS games or PlayStation, because he's just that cool. Why you know has 3DS and DS games in your room? Because I'm smart. I actually just busted out my 3DS the other day and started selling off some of the games I never got to. If you guys have never played the 3DS version of Dead or Alive Dimensions, it's phenomenal on there, and I highly recommend it. The Flying Jester, I 100% of both Banjo. That's impressive. Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie a couple months ago. I would not recommend. It could be worse. There was a story, God, 5 or 6 years ago, in Game Informer of a kid who 100% achieved achievement Final Fantasy 11, and that involved like hitting the max stats of every class in the game. And when they were interviewing him, they go, "Well, was it worth it?" And he just went, "No." uh, I agree. 80% completed to games was the worst thing that ever happened to OCD gamers. I concur. I absolutely concur. The worst with me is item hunting. Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raider reboot had all the unmarked collectibles, and one of them was the mushrooms. I think in the first area, and it was the last thing I needed to get the 100% across the entire game. And I spent at least an hour and a half just walking the trail, literally like screen by screen, foot by foot, looking for this stupid mushroom. Couldn't find it. Stopped where I was. Opened my phone. Found the map where stuff was, and I looked down at the map, and where I was standing was the mushroom. What the hell are you talking about? I literally just moved my camera, looked down, and I was literally standing on the mushroom. Swiped it, got the 100% complete, and took the game out. Kazooie, God, I literally haven't played Banjo-Kazooie since the N64, and even then it was only for a couple of minutes. I wasn't really big into mascot platformers, even now. Like, I mean, I bought the Crash Bandicoot remake, and I've only played it for like an hour because I forgot how freaking hard that game is. Oh man. If you guys want to annoy someone who hasn't played the game, if you haven't played it, if you want to annoy someone, track down Punky Skunk on PS1. I can't remember what, I think it's a Jump or Punky. He basically yells out a word whenever he jumps, and he yells it out every time he jumps. So if you ever want to annoy someone, just play that game in front of them. It's phenomenal. I would say 100% of games is weird too, because like there's that weird like sense of accomplishment tied to like the sense of like, well, that wasn't really hard at all. Well, when I dinged all three platinums, not platinums, all three 100% on the 360 for all three Mass Effects, that just felt awesome because you had to like beat on insanity and yada yada. Then there are some games where like with Life is Strange, where like you basically, as long as you take photos of everything and realize what's going on with the hidden photos, it's just kind of like a checklist more than it is a challenge or like a adventure, so to speak. So I guess it depends on the game. Enki, with the trophies, I must say that my gaming have gotten a little destroyed, meaning I can't play without checking those trophies. Otherwise, I do one playthrough except for Resident Evil 4, where I restarted it 3 times after each other because I loved it that much. The platinum is most probably 13. Dude, my hats are off to you. Becky's got the whole 13 set, and I saw some of the things you had to do. My hat is off to you. I say there was a game I wanted to do the platinum / 100% for. I can't remember what it was. Whatever it was, I was doing great, and then it got to whatever, and I checked the trophy. Oh, I know what it was. It was Mass Effect Andromeda. The achievement to have the 3 romances. I did my first playthrough, did my second playthrough, and my third playthrough, upon reading someone else's article on how to tag it, so that you could do this character and this other character and not have to worry about doing like the whole game. And I did exactly what they said and got to the end of the game, and it didn't give me the trophy for the romance, which means I enjoyed playing it, but it meant my third playthrough was basically useless because the whole intent of playing it the third time was to get the trophy. So I'm going to play through the 4th time and romance a whole new character just to ding the trophy. What is nice is on my 4th playthrough, I will probably have enough not XP, what would you call it? Research points, that I will have maxed out every single research item you can get. Every gun, every helmet, every designation, every class will all be bought and paid for. It's just like how in Mass Effect 3, I game plused it enough where I bought literally everything in the store. There's literally nothing else for me to do in Mass Effect 3 aside from Lone Wolf and the couple of the maps in multiplayer. But that's never going to happen. Oh, man. Now, here's a question for you guys. This actually brings up a good point. If the PlayStation 5 is backwards compatible with actual old games like PS1, PS2, would you want to see trophies added to the old games? I mean, I know they did it with like the actual re-releases like Final Fantasy 9 and stuff, but like, would you want to throw in, say, Jumping Flash and see that there's an achievement for like the highest jump possible, or would you rather just be able to play the retro games as they were intended? I had to create an Excel file. Anki, I had to create an Excel file to keep track of all the weapons I had to fully upgrade. Oh my god, dude, that's awesome. I didn't even have an Excel file for my PlayStation collection. That's phenomenal. Oh my god. I actually had a sheet of paper. If someone had seen this sheet of paper, they would have thought I was planning a mass murder. It was the puzzle in Dishonored 2 where you have to like read the riddle and figure out who was sitting next to who with what hat and what drink and so forth. It was terrifying. It looked like it came out of the movie Seven. Your dream cast for a Mass Effect live action movie, but you can only use actors who appeared in PSXFMV. If that were the case, Male Shepard would be the guy who plays the main character in Fox Hunt, because he would just be hilarious. To be honest, I actually don't want a Mass Effect movie. The only way I would want a Mass Effect movie if it was something that set up the games or linked Andromeda to Mass Effect, because if you make a movie about Mass Effect, it destroys the entire concept of Mass Effect being your journey, your romance options, your choices, your Paragon Renegade, etc. And I don't think it would work like that. If they were to do a movie, I would love to see maybe a live action version of one of the novels where it doesn't have an effect. It'd be really cool to see the whole Anderson Soren. Is it Soren? I've only played the game a billion times. I think so. Yeah. Mashup, or like Andromeda left a lot off the table in the background of how Ryder's father got mixed in with this mysterious group who's clearly Cerberus in getting the funding and so forth. That would actually be really cool. But I would really not want to see an actual like Shepard, because even Shepard's origins, you got to choose from 3 different things. Like, I would just find that absolutely sad. Like, it wouldn't be good. Hey, what's up? Damn. I just play the games. I'm over trophies and such. I kind of am. Like I said, if it's a fanboy game like Tomb Raider or Mass Effect, I'll do the trophies. But if it's like Darksiders, I could care less. It's all good. In one way, I kind of don't want trophies at all because I don't have time for them. Welcome to the club. I need time to play all the other games out there. So many great games indeed. What's up, Indead? I said Indead is another online friend of mine and another YouTuber. Check out his channel. It's under Indead. What is up, Slappy? Guys, I am so happy this is going so well. I was so terrified when I first started the stream because it was just me working on stuff with nobody. Oh, this is great. Oh, man. Let's see. What is going on? 147. I thought we'll probably end this at about 2:30ish if there's still conversation going on. I'm actually, after this, and I take care of some stuff, I'm actually hanging out with my music man, Ken. I'm supposed to help him set up some stuff today to get his music online and in your guys' hands. I cannot wait. The music CD is turning out really well, and I'm probably telling you this without you knowing, but we're going to be having some of the music that has been featured on Game Rave TV made available into a music CD, and I'll be giving some of those out for free on the channel down the road. We're about halfway through the production of it and so forth. We're nailing down the track list, what Game Rave stuff we want, like what actual his stuff we want on there and stuff like that. But I'm super excited for it, so it's all good. Here's a question for you guys. If you've been around long enough, what type of game do you miss from the old days that you really can't do anymore? I'm not gonna lie, I miss light gun games. In fact, doing a Living History project, where to put my pile? One of the next games to do in the Living History project is Point Blank. I really miss light gun games. I shake the whole table. There was just so much fun about just, not having to worry about deep storylines or, being good at it. You could just pew and shoot things. I wish there was a way to bring those back, because I would love to see a modern day remake of Elemental Gearbolt, or even Die Hard Trilogy too, now I think about it. Point and click. Great. Oh my God. Speaking of point and click, that would actually be a good segue into getting the episode about the mouse games mentioned from earlier. Because Discworld uses the mouse, and that is a great point and click game. Inded, appreciate the shout, always. Shindig with Ken sounds good, like good news. Yes. I had mentioned because the music CD was mostly a Patreon gift thing. When we had started working on it, Ken's family got hit with really bad situation where one of the members had to be taken to the hospital back and forth. So we kind of pulled back from it. But now that they're all good to go, we're back on it. And it's really cool. Ken is a graphic designer like I am. And basically, when I brought the idea / demanded the idea to him, I gave him complete free reign. I'm not treating this as a Game Rave music CD. It is basically Game Rave publishing Ken DeYoung's music, and his the artwork so far is excellent. It's going to be like a little bit robot themed. There's going to be at least, I think, 6 or 7 of the tracks that I've used for Game Rave TV's opening and end credits are going to be on there, including one called I think it's The Perfect Kill. It is my jam. I listen to his music literally every day since he started giving them to me, the CDs to me years ago. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, in fact, let me jump on here real quick. Look at me typing. It's phenomenal. It's funny because I can't see the stream right now, so I'm basically talking to a page. If you guys want to hear some amazing music, this is actually his Bandcamp page. You can listen to the songs to check out for free a couple times. I highly recommend him. He just does such good stuff. I was over at his house the other night listening to some of the new tracks he's working on, and there is one, I can only describe it as when I listen to music, be it his music or other music, I automatically start envisioning how I would do a music video to it, or trying to put it to something I've seen before. This new track he's working on, within 3 seconds of it starting, it sounds like the most badass boss music to a spaceship shooter, like an old school Raiden Project, In the Hunt type game. And I cannot wait till he finishes and posts it to Bandcamp, because it's absolutely phenomenal. With the CD that we're going to be publishing, we can fit about 75 minutes of music, give or take, because there's weird things we need to make sure of when we go to send to the publisher. So I'm hoping to have at least double-digit songs on there, so it'll be awesome. We're planning on having 100 made. 50 are going to go to him, and 50 are going to go to me. Once I take care of all the Patreon folk, there's a potential of about 23 people that would get the disc, which means I have about 27 left that I'll give away as little contest prizes and so forth on the YouTube channel once we get there. Let's see. Despite what anyone in the world's particular opinion of the Wii and to a lesser extent the Wii U, there's no denying there's a massive answer send off to light guns. Indeed, in fact, when I was still working at, I left GameStop 4 or 5 years ago now. 4 years maybe. No wait, no, I've been in the condo for 5 years, about 3 years now. I used to tell people all the time, like if you miss light gun games, grab a Wii. Umbrella Chronicles. I think it's Dark Side Chronicles, Ghost Squad. There's the not Laser Active, the Laserdisc games collection, which I actually still have somewhere. I should probably go through that. LA Machine Guns. As goofy as it is using a pointer to shoot, like you can't deny that was just, oh my god. For all the things the Wii's library did wrong with shovelware, it did phenomenally otherwise. And I kind of miss the Wii actually. Let's see. Enki. I would like to play an old PC game called Degeneration. I remember you couldn't walk straight, but it was a very fun, exciting game, a bit tricky. For some reason, Degeneration sounds like a Japanese anime that I'm thinking of. It might be something else. The only platform to Indead. The only platform to truly be HD era friendly without additional accessories, a la Time Crisis, blah blah. Unfortunately, loses the group aspect of a. Yeah, that's true. I love the Broken Sword game, so a remastered copy of the first two would be so fun. I agree. In fact, I actually, when I was doing the 5-second video that's got the 5-second clips of all the games, I didn't realize how intricate Broken Sword was, and that would, maybe after War Gods, maybe I'll jump into Broken Sword, kind of like keep changing the genres on which games I play next. I loved the sprite work in Broken Sword. Like, it was so well done. And I can't wait to get to the infamous goat scene that was technically ruined for me by PlayStation Access, but that's fine because I love PlayStation Access. They can do that all they want. Endless chicken shoot. I forgot what. You know what I love? Speaking of the House of Dead, I loved Link's crossbow game. It was phenomenal, especially with the whole multiplayer trick and so forth. I didn't really use the gun though. I found the gun to be goofy. I just used the mouse and nunchuck. The remote and nunchuck. A bit complicated. Okay, Mr. Anti-Keyboard Boy. I can demolish your unfounded prejudice with one game, Typing of the Dead. Amen. But trick reply, I can play that on the Dreamcast. Also, I suck at it. Like, me playing Typing of the Dead, this is me playing Type of the Dead. Oh my god, that was like one of the when I was still in Maryland, working for Game Shark, my then girlfriend at the time was a huge party thrower. Like, she used to throw parties all the time, but they were always game themed. And one day we had a Dreamcast party where it was literally just Samba de Amigo, Typing of the Dead, 4-player. What was it called? Not Zoom Zoom. The one with the mouses and the cats, and then like San Francisco Rush and the Typing of the Dead. You have not lived until you've seen a room full of drunk people trying to play Typing of the Dead. Oh my god, it was hilarious. Let's see. Oh, that's Shoot Your Rocket. Thank you. Yeah, there was a homebrew of Shoot Your Rocket on the Sega CD. If you guys go to, it's sold out now, but if you guys go to gooddealgames.com, you can at least see what it was about. It actually looked pretty good. How did I forget Choo Choo Rocket? It's just so fun to say. That's another thing I miss. Freaking couch co-op. Like I love multiplayer, with friends and so forth, but like I just miss having people on a couch who could punch them. Like 4-player on the couch poi on the PlayStation. Oh my god. One Christmas I brought my TurboGrafx and 5 controllers on the tap, and we played Family Bomberman, and Becky, Mrs. Game Rave, just whomped my entire family. Like, at one point it was literally the 4 of us against her, and she just wiped the floor with us. It's ridiculous. Because there's only one variant to it. This is true. This is true. Oh my God. Oh, Halo Lands. When I was in Maryland after GameStop, or I think when Game Shark closed its store, when I first started working for EB Games, the EB Games I worked at in White Marsh Mall, they were a tight knit group, and they invited me as the newbie to one of their Halo LAN parties. In one house, we had the 16 player, 4 systems or however many systems hooked up, and body heat aside, that was probably one of the most fun memories I've ever had being in Maryland. Like it was just absolutely crazy. Indeed, maybe Jason could briefly think of some games that fit this category. I'm going blank on it. But games that put an emphasis on the fact that you can walk around in 3D space, the 94, 96 era games. You mean like open world? You mean like Kingsfield? That's open area. Alundra is, but that's 2D. Aquanauts Holiday is underwater full 3D. Bowsy 3D. Let's see. Modifier. Drunk Co-op Double Dash is Pingo of Gaming. Fight me. No fight there. True story. Way back in the day when the GameCube was still the thing, I invited my 2 friends over to play some GameCube, Mario Kart and Super Monkey Ball, and we had a little too much to drink, and I spent 15 minutes trying to untangle a wave bird. Think about it. And they did nothing to stop me. Nothing. That's the kind of friends they are. Let's see. Just games that half of their selling point was, oh my God, look, you can move in 3D. This is new. Come buy it now. Yes, and that's how drunk I was. Oh, well, as far as like the selling point was moving 3D, that was damn near every back of the box. I mean, even games that weren't 100% 3D, like the sports games where it was just the 3D was the stadium, but the players were still the sprites. That was every back of the box. I mean, even Ridge Racer in of itself was like, holy crap, it's 3D racing. Everything's 3D. It's amazing. Descent definitely, although Descent was on like PC games had already had full 3D by then. I mean, especially with like Daggerfall and so forth. If using 2D sprites, it was still a complete 3D open world. Forsaken. Forsaken and Descent are the only 2 games that I know of, that I can think of at least, where I've actually got motion sickness. And I don't get motion sickness playing anything. Like I remember it was really bad for Forsaken. There's also another one, Shadow Madness, where you're in the tank, the bobbly wobbly of the camera because of the oh, that was bad. That's going to be a rough review when I get to that. The future's Forsaken. Advertising works. Indad, Jumping Flash. Oh yeah. That was in first person. There was a well, hang on a sec. There was Floating Runner, but that wasn't first person. That was third person. But that was like, it's all 3D. Look at me go. That's a really. Let me think about this for a second. Now looking. Jumping Flash. Magic Carpet would count. That was originally like a huge hype thing with all the big 3D maps. Technically, I mean, it wasn't open world, but technically can complete the DNA imperative and on the Saturn Robotica. just because it was a full 3D, like huge, ginormous. Even Space Griffin VF9, that would be a perfect example. Some of those levels were huge. It's all like, look, we're 3D. Look, you're in a not Valkyrie for VF9. I don't give a bleep what anyone says. Those two Jumping Flash games are dope. Dude, I love Jumping Flash. Like I said way earlier in the stream today, like the fact that they did not bring Jumping Flash to the VR platform is beyond criminal. Like there should be people arrested for that. D wouldn't really count because D wasn't actually 3D game. It was watching film reels to act like it's 3D. It was basically an FMV game. It was a really well done trickery, but it was definitely an FMV game. It wasn't a 3D world. Oh, Contra Legacy of War. Oh, bad touch. Classic system, nice. Yeah. Oh man, dude, Contra just couldn't save itself on the PlayStation. Like that actually would make a really good episode 2. Is like what legendary series just absolutely failed on the PlayStation. Both Contras on the PlayStation were just terrible. Actually, no, that actually would be a really good. God, you guys are giving me so many good ideas. I gotta start writing this shit down. Oh man. Actually, I'm gonna write this down. In a sec here. Oh, all my notes for the Living History Project. I've actually had a couple of questions on how I was getting the dates for the Living History Project and everything. And the first through 99, through October 99, there was a website called vidgames.net that was actually tracking the PlayStation releases in real time at the time. I mean, if you archive.net it, like it looks like a 1996 webpage. And then from October 99 to the end, I went through archive.org and going backwards, I was archiving like the GameStop, EB Games, Babbage's, Software, etc., Best Buy, etc. And whatever the first date going backwards was that was the actual release date, because then it would have taken into account any of the delays and so forth. That was a huge undertaking, and I'm so glad I did it when I did, because I went back to try and double check one or two things, and for some reason the pages are now gone. pen triggered. I might need to make a shirt of that. I am an old fogey. I do use pen and paper. Like if I go grocery shopping, I'll actually like just handwrite stuff down. I won't put it on my phone. Sophie Mouse Games. Early 3D. We'll call it early 3D hype games. Hybrid, nice. I've got that actually. The misprint. Oh, Inded Hybrid just said it. It's right in project, but on the disc it's actually Collect the DNA Imperative. Critical Depth, good catch. What was the other thing I was going to write down? Color combat period. That genre did die actually. Kind of don't know why. I figured in a world of online multiplayer where you could have like a bunch of crazy people, I figured that would be like a resurrected genre. Can you imagine multiplayer destruction derby? 50 cars in a giant arena, and they're all real people trying to kill each other. Oh, that'd be phenomenal. And gone. I got King. Oh man. Oh yeah, I just shut down the servers. So yeah, so actually that's the interesting. So here's like car count. Jesus. Watch as Jason spills his water all over his new computer. Car Combat series that died. Light Gun died. Point and Click did. Ham Sandwich. That is careful, Jason. 50 cars in an arena trying to kill each other is just a modern day battle royale game. That is true, or maybe the most ultimate. I forgot the name of the game. Rocket League, right? Or the best Rocket League game we've ever played. Oh man, Vigilante 8, Second Offense. I remember when the Vigilante 8 was it Second Offense? Whichever one had the oil tanker truck with the trailer. I remember when that first came out, everyone was so amazed at like the fake reflections off the trailer at the time because it was just so shiny and chromy. You know what I'd love to see remade with like an easy mode is Jet Moto. Like the water effects nowadays with like the control and even using the motion control, that would be awesome. Oh, there you go, Convoy. Also named after Japan's Optimus Prime. Quite nice. Oh man. Which makes you wonder if the PlayStation 5 is going to be supposedly backwards compatible, if they'll have any actual like emulator gimmicks, like if they'll like actually offer like a smooth option that isn't the horrible PS3 one, or like upscaling or scanlines and so forth like that. I was reading the article on the copyright information and trademark stuff that Sony's been filing, and it seems like based on the way it's written, it's not going to be software emulation. It would actually be like the original chip. Like you've got like the PS1 chip, the PS2 chip, the cell processor, etc. And then when it if you throw the disc in, the PS5 will go, okay, you're a PS1 disc. We're going to turn off these 4 chips and just use the PS1 one, which would be really cool if they did. Riptide GP, get them if you like those style of games. Oh, that's cool. Yep, that's absolutely true. The Greatest Hits version was everything unlocked. It's also slightly different too. I think there were less riders to get the higher frame rate. Oh, Star Wars Demolition! I forgot all about that. That was hysterical. Just playing the Rancor monster in that. Speaking of games like other games, I wouldn't say I'm hyped, but I'm extremely curious for Dangerous Driving, which I think comes out either this week or next week. It's basically Burnout, like the way Burnout should be, with like flying all through all the cars and just super fast speed. It looks a bit generic graphic-wise, but I do want to check it out just because I absolutely adore all the Burnout games. And I really wish I knew what those things were. Hang on a sec. Give me a second, guys. Okay, cool. Let's see. My homeboy told me about Dangerous Driving. Has heard it's got some of the OG Criterion guys working. That'd be awesome if it did. I watched the video preview that pops up on PlayStation Store when you click on the game tile. It looked cool. Oh man, Roll Cage. There's another game I haven't thought about in a while. Oh god, guys, I have so many games to go through to review for this site. Like, it's gonna be so bad. I might actually just have to game shark my way through some of the RPGs, just quickly level up and so forth. That's what I did with Wild Arms, and it didn't really detract from anything. Oh, yeah, you know what though? Like as a fan of Wipeout from back in the day, I was not good at it, but I was a fan of it. I kind of fell off the bandwagon with the PS2 version. I never really looked back. Like, I don't. I mean, I know they released a lot of games for, like, for the PSP and the Vita and so forth, but I never really felt like Psygnosis was themselves, or not so much Psygnosis, but the dev team was the same again ever after that. Like, it's kind of interesting how many series pretty much died off during that era. Limited edition. It came with a music CD. In fact, if you guys give me a second here, I can show you. Okay. Or wait a minute, that was Roll Cage 1. What is Roll Cage 2? Hybrid, what are you hiding from me? Limited edition was Roll Cage 1. They're paired with CDs. I did not know there was a Roll Cage 2 pair of CDs. Was this a Europe thing only? Let's do some searching. No, I see you guys. It's good. I've got multiple windows open here. But hey, I mean, like, I might as well do a quick search, because the last time I was talking with someone about a particular variant and we figured out which one it was, I went to eBay to show them, and in go looking for that variant, I actually ended up discovering another variant, so it all works out. But yeah, Roll Cage 1 definitely came with the music CD, and the awesome little single dual case, etc. I think this was actually the first. I think this was the first time I realized there was a limited edition anything on the PlayStation, before I started going collecting for it and all that crazy stuff. Blur was awesome. I used to joke that Blur was the Blur was the Mario Kart for adults who didn't want to play Mario Kart. When I was back at GameStop, I sold so many copies of that game, especially after, I think, was it Metal Jesus that brought it up as one of his hidden gems. And I think that, like, next day, like, we sold out at like 4 stores in the area. Games with Red Book audio, period. Yeah, those are dead. Basically, just because there's no, musical only DVD player to play them. God, with the Red Book audio, like way back in the day when I was still going to anime meetings, one of the guys there would always have his PlayStation, and he'd load in the game, like, say, Ridge Racer, and then he would rip that out and throw in like any random music CD he had, and we would just listen to that music while he played. He was actually doing it with some Mortal Kombat Trilogy. One of the fighting games had Red Book audio, and he would like load the game, and as soon as the characters came up, he'd pop the lid, throw in the music CD, and then close it. So like we'd be fighting, I think it was Mortal Kombat Trilogy, but with like some random death metal or goofy music. It was crazy. Like, I would never take that amount of time to do the swap trick, but I have done it with Ridge Racer. Oh, it's not Crash Team Racing, Toshinden. As far as that would work for the for the music swapping. Yeah, that might work too. Oh, nice. There used to be on Digipress.com's website way back in the day. There was one of the forum posts. We actually were tracking all the PS1 games that had the Red Book audio. I don't know if we ever actually got a complete list, but I know someone who could just sit here and throw discs into his computer and find out. Taifu. That'd be another good game to get redone in the modern day. That would actually work really well with the. Can you imagine Taifu on like the Lord of the Rings engine or even the Batman engine? Oh my god. Fu had one of the best magazine ads ever because it's the first time I went, ooh, because it said, who you calling a pussy? I was like, they can allow this in a magazine? Oh, nice. Yeah, Dama. If you ever go back to there, I am actually Danger Boy on there. So I apologize because I think that was during my snobbish era, so I might come off as a jackass every so often on there. But yeah, I was on there for a long time. Steve Wilcox, who might still be in the chat, he and I actually helped Digipress along with a woman named Christine, who we actually helped them with their PlayStation 1 section, both in the Digipress book and the website. Oh, Nightmare Creatures. Nightmare Creatures was fun to do when I was doing the 5-second video. Once from a recording standpoint, like trying to find cool footage, that had some amazingly weird camera angles to play with that I thought was really cool. I might have to go back to one of those days this October and maybe do like a Halloween special or something. There he is. It's all good. Oh man. We've been doing this for 2.5 hours. I think I will probably end this at 2:30 then, so I can figure out what's going on with Ken. We can hook up and get some more music done. Yep, there you go. Chris created the list, and then me and Steve added it through the publishing and so forth. God, those were the days. You know what? You always see Facebook and like Twitter posts like, if you could forget one game so you could experience it all over again, like what would it be? I wish I could do that with like the last year of PlayStation, like with Steve and a couple other people, like just finding new games coming out, finding new variants, finding out little things that we didn't realize happened, like that joy in discovering as being part of the journey towards a full set was probably more interesting and amazing than actually playing through some of the games. Like that was like, and Steve can concur. Like, I mean, there'd be days where like we'd come on, he'd be like, "I've got new variants." I'd be like, "I've got new variants." Crap. Start to jot down the notes and so forth. God, those are the days. Yeah, 14 years ago. Great. What else? Is this the first live stream you've done like this? Felt like I haven't seen this yet. Yes, this actually was the first live stream I've ever done. I never, way back when I first started Game Rave TV, I tried doing a stream, like a gameplay stream. It was me playing Capcom vs. SNK 2, and it was kind of fun for what it was. But at the time, my Mac and my internet speed couldn't handle it, so like it was really blurry and it kept moving on and so forth, and I never felt like I knew what to do. So a couple of weeks ago I had the survey on social media and Patreon about like, here's 4 or 5 ideas of stuff I could do, what do you guys want to see, and the number one thing was just, we want to talk with you. So I went out and bought the webcam, and now this will hopefully be a regular thing. I misread Siphon Filter 3 as Street Fighter 3, and I was like, what are you talking about? I was saying nothing will top the NBA 2 ball, though. Like, just the discovery and the mention and the seeing it for the first time was just like, oh my God. I bet 2004, 2005 was weird as hell. Dude, let me tell you about 2004, 2005. So the PlayStation library was officially done in 2004. And 2005 was that weird time frame where like stores were like sort of marking stuff down, but not really, because certain things were still selling and blah, blah, blah. A long time ago, it might have been 2006, even 2007. I went on a quest for a charity auction on eBay to see if I could build up a complete PlayStation library, a second one, not this one, like a second one to auction off for charity. But the trick is that I would allow disc-only games to be part of it just to make it up. And when GameStop was offering their, I think it was buy one, get three free sale on PlayStation games, I was still an employee, so my employee discount stacked on top of that sale. I hit every GameStop and every EB probably within like a 3-hour radius of where I live. Like, I went to places I haven't been to ever again. I went to places I probably shouldn't have been, if you know what I mean. And I racked up, and I think Steve can back me up. I think I hit the like just over the halfway point. I think it was like somewhere between 600 to 800 games I had amassed like dirt cheap. And the last store I ever went to try and get games for this auction, I walked in, and the guy actually knew me from a meeting we had a year ago prior. He goes, oh, you're looking for PS1 games. And they had pulled the games from the shelf. So he goes, here, take whatever, buy whatever you want. And he brings out this box. And I lean into the box, and literally it's Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, Tactics, Wild Arms, Parasite Eve, Mega Man Legends, blah, 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 for buy one, get three free. I took out my wallet. I just handed my wallet over. I said, pick the card you want. We're done. And I got home. And at the time, and this is going to make me cry, I think I spent about $100 on that box because of the sale and the employee discount. I'm willing to bet if I could remember what all the games in that box were, and I did it up now, I'd be willing to bet it was probably a $3,000 box of games that I bought for $100. What was cool is the actual auction ended up selling so well that because it was going to be a 50-50 split to auction and to me to make up the cost of the things. The auction actually went for double the amount I bought it for. So I not only made all my money back, I ended up donating, I think it was like $800 to Child's Play through Penny Arcade. And it was the first viewing was of the broken disc, but it was still worth it. And I can still feel the heart palpitations to this day of when the disc shattered in my CD drive. I feel like the people who follow a channel like yours are a bunch of knowledgeable, opinionated people that just want the floodgates open for us for conversation. So here we be. I agree, opinionated and all. In fact, I'm literally having so much fun with this that I might make it a weekly thing on Sundays if nothing else is coming up in my life. Dude, if we can be brutally honest with each other, and that just said Six Story, which I actually had spending cash back then. If we can be brutally honest, I didn't have spending cash back then. I have maxed out and paid off and maxed off and paid off and maxed out and paid off my Discover card more times than I care to imagine. That was before I had a mortgage. That was before I had, responsibilities. I can't really do that anymore. In fact, that's actually why I don't do pickup videos, is because they would happen about once every 7 months. And it would just be me going, hey, I've got one new game. You've already seen this. Take care. But yeah, I never missed a credit card payment and I worked my ass off. But as I've talked with Steve in our private chat, on usual days, is I feel so bad for present day gamers and collectors because the hidden gem and the eBay mentality and the, if I see one more person say I caught someone sleeping when they buy a rare game for cheap, I just want to punch them. Those days are gone. When you see a new game come up for a limited edition for pre-order and they're sold out and let's say there's 1,000 copies available and they sell out and you see 700 of them on eBay before it's even come out, there's no way to do that anymore. You either have to buy the game you want out of hope that you can get it, or just pray that it goes on discount and scalpers get tired of it later on. It's a horrible world right now when it comes to stuff like that. You kind of did the same thing with the PS2 stuff. Not really. That was more of I was going for a full PS2 set and then sold it off and then donated part of that to charity because I, to quote myself back then, I think it was, did I get 200? I have something like 200 to 400 games into the 2,000 game library for PS2. I remember I came home one day and with a new stack of like dollar games from GameStop. I think it was NHL 2002's cover variant or whatever NHL had the cover variant because the guy accidentally killed someone in an accident. And I looked at that and I looked up the wall and I'm like, do I really need 22 more hockey games? And I ended up just going, no, and I ended up selling off most of my PS2 collection. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, I can't. Knowing what this looks like behind me, I can't fathom a full PS2 collection, especially with variants like all the. Probably the number one reason. Petridge. Oh, Petridge Farm remembers. Like for people that are doing PS2 variant collections, if you guys ever want to do a PS2 variant collection, remember this. That means you have to get the variant box sets for all the Guitar Heroes, all the Rock Bands, all the DDR bundles, all the Dance Pad bundles. Like, I think for PS3 there was like 7 different versions of Rock. There was a Guitar Hero. No, yeah, one of the Guitar Heroes had like 7 different versions because it was like 1 guitar, 2 guitar, exclusive guitar, 2 exclusive guitar, free Van Halen, blah blah blah. It was just, oh my god, like I totally just did up my hair. The back rooms at GameStop when Rock Band and Guitar Hero came out on the same day. Oh my god, the nightmares. My GameStop's back room was so small. We actually had a fire code violation because if a fire hit, you'd all be dead because you couldn't get to the door because of all the Rock Band bundles. Inded's Game Room. I know you're a CD head. But what cartridge platforms do you have any kind of substantial collection in? TurboGrafx. I have a full set for the Hue cards and the CDs. So just to prove a point. Paid for $150 20 years ago. Way back in the day, I was actually like, this is way back when I was in my, I hate to use the name, but in my John Hancock, I'm going to buy everything phase. I was super close to a full Super Nintendo set, cartridge only. And I was like half-assedly doing a full Genesis cartridge set. And then like one day, like just like with the PlayStation 2, I was like, you know what? I'm never going to play any of this. I ended up selling them off. The original Nintendo set, I got to within 11 games of a full set, all Tengen, all like blah, blah, blah. The 11 I was missing was like Stadium Events, Maxi 16, the 3 porn games, whatever they were. I'm actually still selling off most of my Nintendo collection just because the Raspberry Pi let me play whatever I want. I am keeping a couple cartridges, though, because you can pry Metal Gear out of my cold, dead hands. Technically, my NVS library, my arcade Neo Geo would have been like the substantial cartridge library, but because I've got almost all the games on Neo Geo CD, I've just been selling off all the MVS carts to save up money to replace all the windows and the patio door in the condo, because we've got the polar vortex like completely warped some of the wood frames, so now we need to replace everything. Oh, nice hybrid. I've got the NHL 2K6 that plays Genji Dawn of Samurai. I think I actually saw that on eBay the one day. I'm assuming you bought it, or at least bought one of them. Steve, you had a big NTV collection too. Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot all about that. To prove a point, out of sight, out of mind, I actually did have a big NTV collection, and that like there. Oh, story time. So there used to be this resale shop called the Music Recyclery, and when I was working at the that's a bold-faced lie. When I was still near Chicago Ridge Mall, I'd go there, and I remember their opening day. I walked in, I was like, "Oh, what's this? That's cool. I see some games." And on one of the shelves where they had some of their retro games, there was an entire wireframe shelf, like you'd see like in the game shop, GameStop shops, of just boxed Intellivision games, like almost mint condition for like $1.99 each. I literally took the shelf itself off the wall and walked up to the counter and just put it down and said, "I'll take these." Music Recyclery was great for variety because they were always getting stuff in, but like as soon as they realized what eBay was, all their prices just skyrocketed, and I never really shopped there again because I couldn't afford anything. I love my Intellivision. That was probably like when I was growing up, I had an Atari, and my friend Diane had the Intellivision, and whenever we went to her house for holidays and so forth, we would literally just play nothing but MTV Bowling and Astro Smash and Frog Bogger and or Frog Bog. And when we weren't doing that, we were playing Where and Wherever She Was as Carmen Sandiego on our Apple IIgs. Oh man. Still, Intellivision still had the best bowling game until Wii Sports came out, and now Wii Sports Resort is probably my favorite bowling game ever. All right, guys. This has been amazing. It's actually 2:34. We've been doing this for 2 hours and 40 minutes now. I need to see if I can edit this video before it goes live, so I can cut out the dead time when I first logged on. You guys have been amazing, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a regular thing. So hopefully I will see you guys all next Sunday. I will see you then. Have a great one. Take care. Oh, hey, Scott. Oh, you're welcome. It's all good. Like I said, if you stumbled upon this, check out the channel. As you can see, I've got amazing viewers and online friends that we actually talk and discuss. It's not just, for like a better term, eepiness. But yeah, check out the rest of the channel. There's some really cool stuff. I'm sure these guys could recommend things. I will see you guys then. Take care. Have a good one.